Where was the term Illuminati born? The year was 1776. A young and daring professor named Adam Weishaupt started a group in Bavaria which he called the Order of the Illuminati. Weishaupt wanted a world free from tyranny. He believed in reason and knowledge. His group, the Illuminati, included secret discussions and radical ideas. Unfortunately, it didn't last long. By 1785, the Bavarian government shut it down, but the idea of a powerful hidden group remained. Like a ghost story, the Illuminati has lived on in whispers, but is it all true? Section 3. Theories. Centuries after their supposed demise, the Illuminati still fascinate. The issue is they no longer go by the name Illuminati. Long ago they realized they could get farther by going further underground and keeping information secret. Make no mistake, they are the ones today pulling the strings of the governments of the world and the biggest banks. These tyrannical men have caused wars, economic crashes and coups d'états to overthrow smaller world leaders and siphon their power. The more power they amass, the more damage they cause. So it is only natural that they could not hide from the public eye forever. Section 4. Are they among us? Who exactly are these supposed puppet masters? We can only point to the most powerful people throughout history. But mainly they are bankers, the ones with the most power, who today control the most wealth. Names like the Rothschilds, a powerful banking family, are often mentioned. Other large families include the Bush family. The father, who is now deceased, was the head of the CIA when MK Ultra was at its peak. Before being elected president, the patriarch made a famous speech about something called the New World Order. That is a very deep rabbit hole and a whole other video we cannot get into today, but we will eventually. Section 5. The case for conspiracy. Events from the past centuries point to these groups of families at the very top who have orchestrated numerous events. There has been no shortage of wars, assassinations, and economic collapses, which are all part of a grander plan. Their plan is extremely simple. They want to remain in control and amass the most money. There is no grand conspiracy if you understand human nature and the will to survive. We can see it clearly in our own country, the United States of America. The money for war is always in abundance, but money for healthcare and education seems to always run out. The wealth gap in most first world nations today is the largest it has ever been. While the poorest get poorer, the richer have only become richer. 0.01% of the men at the top today control the 99% of the wealth that exists. So as you see, there is no conspiracy, but there is also no shortage of evidence. Section 6. Symbols of the wealthiest corporations. So what about these supposed symbols of the Illuminati? For some reason, these people love Egyptian mythology, and so they use those symbols, but they refashion them. One not need look very far. The symbols are everywhere. One example is the famous owl and the pyramid on the dollar bill. The owl points to a secret club they all love to go to in the woods of upstate California called the Bohemian Club. Another example is the number 666, but this has more to do with the Bible and the Book of Revelations and less to do with the Illuminati. One of the most obvious examples was on a building in New York City. The numbers 666 shone at night in bright red light. Since 2021, though, it was reskinned as 660 to avoid issues. These are just some basic examples, but there are many others in the logos of the biggest corporations. You can't live your life looking for symbols, though. It will drive you mad. It's better to talk about the methods world leaders and the media employ to control our society. Section 7. Engineering consent. Identifying and deconstructing e-psyops. That the first method you need to know is called the fate model. This model focuses on triggering the mammalian part of the brain that makes decisions using 4 methods. These are focus, authority, tribe, and emotion. Focus, manipulating attention through repetition, shocking visuals, or fear-inducing scenarios. Notice when the news gives disproportionate coverage of certain stories to direct focus from certain other, more important stories. Authority. They use trusted figures who may shift their tone or speak outside of their expertise to support a specific narrative. Tribe. Beware of human labels in speech. Words like patriots versus traitors, male versus female, black versus white are used against us to polarize opinions and create discord among large groups of people by exploiting their innate tribal instincts. Emotional triggers. They will try to trigger strong emotions like fear, hope, or outrage without clear, verifiable evidence. These overly emotional responses are known by scientists to suppress critical thinking. New catastrophes. They use methods to exploit the brain's tendency to focus on sudden or unusual changes by creating unexpected crises or dramatic revelations. These can appear like manufactured or timed events. For example, a viral video that appears at an opportune time, made to shift your focus away from themselves. Now that we understand some of the methods they employ, what other things should we look for? Follow the money. Identify who benefits from a narrative, including funding sources and political connections, to reveal their motives. Context boundaries. Shifting the context to normalize extreme behavior by making previously unacceptable actions seem necessary, often during emergencies. Archetypes. Simplifying narratives using archetypes like heroes, villains, and saviors to prevent scrutiny. Most of these I found on a video by a YouTuber named Chase Hughes. I have only briefly touched upon these topics, but he goes much more in depth. If you're interested in learning more, I urge you to watch his video. It will also be linked down below. Section 9. How to stop these expectations from influencing you. Stop letting them influence your beliefs. In other words, stop making assumptions about other people's values, views, and fears. Stop letting them influence your perception. Realize they are shaping reality through selective facts or missing context. Read and do research. Make sure to find unbiased sources. Ask questions. Stop letting them influence your definitions. Challenge when others assert a truth as unchallengeable and try to suppress alternative viewpoints. Stop letting them influence your compliance. They create urgency by trying to drive quick compliance through emotional appeals, staged group behaviors, or false consensus. Call them out on it. Don't be fooled. Ask for evidence. While the Illuminati, the big hungry monster conspiracy theory, does not exist, the 1% who have power because they are wealthiest among us do. Reading things like the book by George Orwell, 1984, and Animal Farm, helped me identify these things long ago. I feel it is my duty to pass it on to the younger generations. These people in power absolutely exist, and they refuse to give up their power. That is why we must take the power back by focusing our attention on ourselves, our families, and our close friends. They own companies that control the media you watch and hear, the trends you affiliate with, and the ideas being disseminated out in the world. Do not allow these people to control you or your behavior. The power of the mind is vast. In the future videos, we want to step away from this dark stuff and talk more about dreams and the subconscious state. It is not always doom and gloom, but we do need to understand the darkness before we talk about the light. There is no grand conspiracy, just basic human nature. I'm so grateful to all of you that have made it to the end of this video. If you have any ideas for future videos, please leave it in the comments below. We always read and respond to every comment. Thanks for watching. Until next time, this is Abandoned Muse's robot voice signing out. Muse says, watch as I make the robot voice say something stupid. Peace out!